Have you ever noticed how loud it is inside your own silence? Even when everything around you goes quiet, the screen fades to black, the phone rests still, the night breathes heavy, your mind doesn't stop. It keeps moving, whispering, calculating, replaying, predicting, inventing, collapsing, an infinite loop of invisible voices that never learned how to stop speaking. You close your eyes, hoping for stillness, but the noise expands. Thoughts collide, emotions spill, memories rise like ghosts. You can feel them, thousands of fragments all demanding your attention, and in that internal hurricane you begin to wonder, if I am the one who thinks, then why can't I stop thinking? The ancient masters already knew this paradox. They called it the first illusion, the belief that you control your mind, when in truth, it is your mind that controls you. You don't think your thoughts think you. Every emotion, every decision, every reaction you call mine is often nothing but the echo of invisible conditioning, patterns installed over years of repetition and noise. The world has taught you to live on autopilot, to react faster than you can reflect, to chase without pausing to ask why. Look around. We live in an era of mental hurricanes, an age where silence feels dangerous and stillness feels like failure. Every second, a new ping pulls your awareness. Every scroll injects another image. Every headline lights a fire in your nervous system. And slowly, without realizing, you've become a passenger in your own vessel, adrift on the sea of stimulation, rowing endlessly without direction. You tell yourself you're informed, connected, awake, but you're not awake. You're alert. There's a difference. Alertness is survival, a nervous readiness. Awakening is awareness, a lucid stillness that watches even the storm. Most people never reach that second state. They remain caught between reflex and reaction, driven by the endless chatter of the inner machinery. That inner noise is not just distraction, it's possession. Your consciousness, the purest resource of creation, has been hijacked by the very tool meant to serve it, your mind. It moves like a parasite that feeds on your attention, and attention, when uncontrolled, becomes its nourishment. Every time you lose yourself in random thoughts, every time your focus splinters into 1,000 fragments, a portion of your life force drains into the void. You feel tired, but not from work, from friction, not from life, but from leaking energy in all directions. And the cruelest part? You think it's normal, because everyone around you lives the same way, trapped in their own invisible storms. Imagine this clearly. You are standing in a small boat on a dark ocean. The wind howls, the waves roar, lightning flashes in all directions. You hold the helm, but your hands tremble. Every gust of thought, every wave of emotion pushes your vessel off course. You try to fight it, but the sea is stronger. You scream commands, but the storm doesn't listen. And that's when it hits you. The sea is not outside, it's within. The chaos you feel out there is only the mirror of the chaos in here. The Hermetic law says, as within, so without. Your external reality is a reflection, a projection of the vibration you sustain inside your mind. You see, the first principle of Hermetic science, the law of mentalism, reveals that all is mind. Everything you call reality is mental in nature. The universe is not a thing, it's a thought, and you are not inside it. You are thinking it. But what happens when the thinker forgets he is the thinker? When he becomes lost in the thoughts themselves, then the dream starts dreaming him. And that is the human condition. 7 billion dreamers asleep inside their own projection, each believing the storm is real when in truth the storm is self-created. This is why the Hermetic path doesn't begin with worship, but with observation. Before you can change your life, you must learn to see your mind, not to fight it, not to escape it, but to watch, with clarity, without judgment, how every wave rises and falls, how every emotion begins and dissolves, how every thought tries to convince you it's true. The moment you observe the storm, you are no longer inside it. The observer and the observed cannot exist in the same place. Observation is liberation. Awareness is the first act of mastery. You are not the noise. You are the silence that hears it. You are not the storm. You are the space where the storm happens. The true you has never been disturbed. It is the unbroken field behind all movement, the still point in the spinning wheel. This is what the Hermetists called the one mind, the vast ocean of consciousness from which all thoughts arise. And every human mind is a wave of that ocean, momentarily forgetting it is made of the same water. To remember this truth is to awaken the timoneer within, the inner navigator who steers the sea instead of drowning in it. Think about it. Every day your mind broadcasts thousands of signals: fear, desire, comparison, repetition. Each thought vibrates, and those vibrations weave the fabric of your reality. The outer world is simply the projection of the inner frequency. Confusion inside, chaos outside, clarity inside, coherence outside. The storm is not random. It's reflective. So the question is no longer how to calm the storm. The real question is, who are you beyond the storm? When you ask that question, something shifts. A silence deeper than silence emerges. It doesn't erase the noise. It repositions you. You realize you are not the victim of your thoughts. You are their architect. Not the shadow they cast, but the light that allows them to exist. And that light can be directed. That is mentalism. It is the art of commanding vibration through conscious thought. It's not positive thinking. It's the discipline of sovereignty, the mastery of energy through attention, because attention is creation. Where your focus goes, your frequency flows. And what you sustain in frequency, the universe must mirror in form. Every master knew this. Every initiate trained it, because the mind is not an enemy, it is a laboratory, and every chaotic thought, every anxious spiral, is raw material waiting to be refined. Look at your own experience now. Every time you chase one thought after another, you are burning energy. Every time you pause and observe, you are reclaiming it. Observation transforms reaction into awareness, and awareness transforms chaos into order. This is how the timoneer learns to steer. Not by fighting the wind, but by learning its rhythm. When anger rises, you don't drown in it, you study it. When fear expands, you don't run, you breathe inside it. When confusion arrives, you don't escape, you anchor. You adjust the sail of your attention until your direction aligns once again with your intention. The storm remains, but your position changes. You are no longer tossed, you are centered. And in that stillness you feel it. The quiet hum beneath all existence. That is the frequency of consciousness itself. The Hermetic masters called it nous, the divine mind. And when you align with it, your thoughts no longer pull you, they obey you. That's the moment when chaos turns into code. You stop being a victim of vibration and become its conductor. That is the true meaning of mind control. Not repression, not denial, but the art of direction, conscious, deliberate, luminous. And so, the first initiation begins not in temples or rituals, but in the private silence of your own mind. It begins every time you catch yourself drifting and decide to return. Every time you choose awareness over noise, presence over panic, clarity over confusion. That is the hidden ritual of the modern alchemist, and now as you listen, perhaps you can already feel it. That small but undeniable space between you and your thoughts. That's you, the real you. The timoneer awakening in the storm. So don't run from the wind. Listen to it. Don't curse the storm. Learn to steer through it. Because the storm is not punishment. It's initiation. It's the mirror through which you rediscover your own command. And remember this. The storm ends not when the wind stops, but when you remember that you are the one holding the helm. Maybe no one ever saw what you've been carrying. Maybe you've walked for years, holding questions no one could answer. You didn't find this by accident. Messages like this aren't pushed, they're pulled by the resonance inside you. And if something deep moved you, if this felt more like a memory than information, it means you've always carried the key. We're about to reveal what has always been waiting for you. And from this moment on, there is no return. If you felt something vibrate within you, click like right now. That gesture is your "I'm here," a sign that you too are listening with your soul. And through that one act, other seekers, just like you, may find their way back home. And if you're ready to walk further, touch the subscribe symbol below and join this living temple of conscious creators, rewriting reality from its true source. You've heard the whisper before, control your mind or it will control you. But few ever realize what that truly means, because the mind doesn't dominate you through violence. It seduces you through identification. It doesn't shout, it imitates your own voice. It doesn't attack, it convinces. And the tragedy is this: most people spend their entire lives defending the very force that keeps them trapped. The ancient Hermetists called it the great illusion. the invisible predator that devours energy not by force but by fascination. It is not an external demon. It is the part of your own mind that feeds on your attention, that grows stronger each time you believe everything it says. Think of it like this. Inside every human being lives two entities, the observer and the machine. The observer is awareness itself, the silent witness. The machine is the mind, a network of reflexes, memories, programs, and emotions designed for survival. It serves you, but only if you remain the one commanding it. The moment you forget that you are the observer, the machine takes over the throne, and the machine's goal is simple: repeat, react, consume. It runs the same cycles over and over again because it feeds on movement, not meaning. It thrives on your restlessness. It hungers for your unresolved stories. Every unresolved emotion becomes fuel. Every repressed desire becomes bait. Every unexamined belief becomes a cage. The machine doesn't care about truth. It cares about continuation. It would rather keep you in chaos than allow you to wake up and end its rule. That's why clarity feels uncomfortable. Stillness feels threatening, because the moment you become truly silent, the machine begins to starve, and it will do everything to pull you back, through distraction, through impulse, through fear. This is the invisible warfare of the modern seeker. It's not fought with swords, but with attention. It's not about good and evil, but awareness and automation. Every time you scroll endlessly without direction, you're offering your awareness as sacrifice to the machine. Every time you replay the same argument in your head, you're feeding it another cycle. Every time you identify with every thought that appears, you surrender command. And the cost? Your energy, your focus, your sovereignty. That's why the Hermetic initiates spoke of the predator of consciousness. Because what we call mind becomes predatory when it forgets its origin. The mind was born to serve the spirit, not to dominate it. But when spirit sleeps, mind becomes the master. And when mind rules, the world turns into labyrinth, a labyrinth of reflections, each mirror showing a slightly distorted version of yourself. You chase them, versions of who you think you are, until exhaustion becomes your religion. You become addicted to motion, to thinking, to doing, because the moment you stop, the silence threatens to reveal the truth. The great illusion whispers, you are your thoughts, you are your feelings, you are your past. And you believe it, because it feels familiar. But familiarity is not truth. It is programming. To break the illusion, you must see the pattern, not fight it, but see it. Observation is the weapon the predator cannot devour, because the moment you observe the mind, you stand outside it. And when you stand outside, you are free. This is the first act of true power, to recognize the difference between you and the voice in your head. Ask yourself, who is the one who notices the thought? Who is the one who hears the emotion? Who is aware that the storm exists? That silent, observing presence where it is the real self. It has no form, no name, no history. It simply watches. And the more you rest in that watching, the weaker the machine becomes. The Hermetic texts call this the art of internal separation, not a rejection of the mind, but a remembrance of hierarchy. Spirit commands, mind obeys. That is the natural order of reality. But in this world, the order has been reversed. Spirit kneels, mind shouts, and the individual becomes the prisoner of his own projection. Look deeper. Every fear you've ever felt, every obsessive thought that won't release, is not the real you. It's the echo of the machine, a feedback loop replaying in the field of consciousness. When you feed it attention, it multiplies. When you starve it with silence, it dissolves. This is why true mastery begins in the smallest moment. The instant you catch yourself lost in thought and you choose to return. You don't fight the loop. You witness it. You name it. This is the machine. And instantly, a gap appears. That gap is the beginning of freedom. Freedom is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of awareness stronger than thought. Once this separation occurs, the Hermetic student begins the second stage, direction. The ability to redirect vibration instead of being dragged by it. Because now you can see that every thought carries frequency. Some drain you, some uplift you, some align with truth, others distort it. To master your life, you must learn to feel the vibration behind the thought, not the content, but the charge. When fear arises, don't analyze it, feel its frequency. Where does it live in your body? How does it move? How long until it dissolves when you stop feeding its story? That is hermetic training in its purest form. Observation without identification. Energy without story. And this is the moment the predator becomes servant again. Because when you see it, it can no longer devour you. When you know its nature, you turn it into an ally. Your mind is not evil. It's mechanical. It repeats what you allow it to repeat. And once you learn its rhythm, you can reprogram its direction. Like a compass realigned to the north of consciousness, your mind begins to move in coherence with your will. This is the beginning of mental dominion, not over others, but over yourself. Not domination, but alignment. Because a disciplined mind is not a prison. It's a bridge between the infinite and the finite, between the invisible and the visible. And now, as you listen, you may start to sense that bridge forming. The thoughts are still there, but you can feel something deeper watching them. You are standing in the gap between reaction and response, between chaos and command, between illusion and awareness. This is the most sacred threshold of all, the place where you meet yourself. And if you listen carefully, you might hear the same whisper that has followed every seeker since the beginning of time. Do not fear your mind. Fear forgetting who commands it. If you felt the echo of this truth within you, if the idea that your mind might be an instrument rather than a prison awakened something ancient inside, then hear this. The first map awaits you. It's not a document. It's a portal, a field of consciousness shared by those who are learning to command their own vibration. It begins with one step, awareness in practice. The path continues beyond this video, inside the living field we're building together. Follow the link in the pinned portal below. Enter your email, not as data, but as declaration. You'll receive the Hermetic Mind Map, a private transmission designed to help you reclaim focus and silence the predator within. This is not content, it's a frequency of remembrance, and it will reach you at the exact moment you're ready to see. The map is waiting in the pinned portal, because seekers don't find messages like this. They magnetize them. The machine feeds on forgetfulness. Awareness feeds on silence. And silence, when chosen consciously, becomes power. What if everything you've ever called reality was only the echo of a thought? What if the streets, the voices, the relationships, the coincidences, every frame of your life were not happening to you but through you? This is not philosophy. This is not metaphor. This is the first law of the Hermetic Code, the principle of mentalism, the truth that all is mind. The universe is not made of matter. It is made of meaning. Everything you see, touch, and feel is thought condensed into form. Matter is mind crystallized. Time is mind unfolding. Destiny is mind repeating what it refuses to understand. Behind every event, every coincidence, every encounter, there is a mental vibration shaping it. That vibration begins in thought, but it doesn't end there. It extends, ripples outward, until it solidifies as the reality you call the world. The Hermetic Masters said, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." It means that existence itself is a projection of an infinite intelligence, a consciousness dreaming itself into countless forms, and your personal mind, your individual field of thought, is a fragment of that infinite field. You are not inside the universe, you are the universe thinking itself as you. When you think a thought, you are not creating something new. You are tuning your frequency to a layer of reality that already exists in potential. Each vibration aligns with a corresponding field of experience. Fear vibrates to limitation. Clarity vibrates to direction. Gratitude vibrates to expansion. Every state of mind is a radio frequency broadcasting into the field of infinite potential. What you tune into, you experience, and what you experience, you call reality. But most people never realize they are broadcasting. They think life is happening to them, random, chaotic, unfair, when in truth, it's only answering the vibration they sustain. The world mirrors not what you want, but what you are being. This is the essence of mentalism. To realize that your mind is not a screen to be filled, but a lens through which energy becomes form. It means that every emotion, every belief, every recurring thought is an instruction sent into the quantum fabric of existence. The universe is listening, and it answers with precision. That is why the Hermetic path begins with purification of thought, not moral purification, but vibrational purification. You don't need to be good. You need to be clear. A scattered mind projects scattered worlds. A coherent mind generates coherent timelines. Your external life is the printout of your internal algorithm. When you think in confusion, you live in confusion. When you think with direction, life rearranges itself around your intent. The masters compared the mind to a mirror. If the mirror is dirty, the image is distorted. Clean the mirror, and the divine reflection becomes visible again. That is why ancient initiations always began in silence. Silence is not the absence of thought. It is the resetting of vibration. It is the moment when the personal mind aligns again with the universal mind, the divine intelligence that animates all things. Everything begins in that alignment, because your consciousness and the cosmos are not two, they are one continuum of frequency. The same intelligence that moves galaxies moves through your breath. The same mind that spins stars whispers through your intuition. You don't have a mind. You are mind expressing itself as human form. Think of this. Every technological creation, every bridge, every medicine, every invention began first as an invisible image in someone's mind. Before the physical existed, the mental blueprint was already complete. The unseen precedes the seen. The invisible precedes the visible. Every manifestation is mental before it is material, and that includes your life. When you wake up each morning, your thoughts are not private. They are generative. They are the frequencies through which your next 24 hours will form. You are programming the quantum field with every internal phrase you repeat, every emotional tone you sustain, every identity you insist on carrying. The field doesn't discriminate between truth and illusion. It only responds to vibration. That is why those who constantly think, "I'm lost," keep getting lost. Those who think, "I'm clear," begin to notice pathways that others can't see. Because the external world only mirrors the internal vibration. The Hermetic scientist does not beg reality to change. He changes the signal he is transmitting. He refines the instrument of perception. He doesn't chase form. He calibrates frequency. He knows that the mind is both the origin and the operator of the universe. And once you begin to grasp this, you start to see the patterns. Think of the moments when you've met someone by chance, yet felt an instant familiarity, as if the meeting was arranged beyond logic. That's mentalism at work, resonance aligning timelines. Or when you've obsessed over a problem for days, unable to see a way out, and the moment you release it, a solution appears, not from effort, but from release. That's mentalism again. The mental field reorganizing itself once resistance dissolves. Even the subtle synchronicities, repeating numbers, sudden insights, the song that answers your question, are all feedback loops of your own mental vibration. Life speaks in the language of your frequency, so the question becomes, what frequency are you broadcasting? Because you can only experience the world that matches it. If your mind is fragmented, reality will fragment with it. If your mind is coherent, life will follow in coherence. That is not magic. That is resonance. And resonance is law. But here is the key few ever teach. You don't force vibration. You refine it. You don't create reality. You allow it to emerge through alignment. When you quiet the noise and bring your thoughts into harmony with clarity, intention, and emotional truth, reality shifts. Because the field, being mental, must obey the most stable vibration, and the most stable vibration is consciousness aware of itself. That's why the Hermetic Master does not run from thought. He trains it. He watches. He directs. He transforms. He learns to use thought as sculptor uses chisel, removing excess until the essence is revealed. He shapes his own perception until perception itself becomes revelation. Remember this. Every experience begins as an idea. Every idea is a vibration, and every vibration is a seed that must bear fruit in the world of form. That fruit may take days or years to ripen, but it cannot fail to manifest because the universe is mental, and the law cannot contradict itself. Your life right now is the harvest of previous thoughts. If you want a different harvest, you must plant different vibrations, not through force but through awareness, not through effort but through precision, because thought without awareness is noise, but thought with awareness becomes creation. So ask yourself quietly, deeply, what vibration am I offering to the universe today? What story am I repeating internally, disguised as truth? Because every story becomes architecture. Every word becomes world. You can feel it right now, the way your inner state shapes your outer field. You can sense how the moment you change the tone of your thought, the atmosphere around you shifts. This is not imagination. This is science of consciousness. And when you truly understand it, you stop feeling powerless. You stop waiting for permission to change. You stop chasing external order and begin cultivating internal coherence. That coherence, that inner stillness that vibrates clarity, is what the Hermetic lineage called the divine mind restored. It is when the personal self stops resisting and starts resonating. And at that moment, what you once called miracle becomes predictable. Because vibration obeys the same laws as gravity. It pulls into form what matches its tone. The code has always been there, hidden not from you, but within you, waiting for the moment your awareness becomes strong enough to command it consciously. And that moment is now. So if everything begins in the mind, what happens when you begin to master it? What new reality begins to unfold the instant you stop reacting and start directing? The Hermetic masters smiled when they said, "To think clearly is to create divinely." And now you understand why. Because to change the world, you must first learn to change the lens through which it exists. Everything else is consequence. If you're still here, it's because this truth is yours. You didn't just hear it, you remembered it. And remembrance is the first act of awakening. Right now, the portal to practice is open. Inside the Hermetic Focus Challenge, we guide you through 7 days of mental calibration. Short, daily initiations that train your awareness to command vibration with precision. This is not self-help, it's self-mastery. You'll receive direct transmissions through our newsletter. 1 exercise each day, 1 layer of noise dissolved, 1 degree of clarity restored. To enter, open the pinned portal below. Join the field, not as a follower, but as a practitioner. Because theory awakens the mind, but practice rewires reality. If this message stirred something deep, don't let it fade into the background. Step into the current of transformation while it's alive in you. The first lesson awaits inside the portal, and the field recognizes those who act in resonance. The code is not outside. It has always been within you. And the moment you understand that the universe is mental, you realize that your mind is the origin point of creation. Everything moves. Nothing is still. From the densest stone to the most subtle dream, everything vibrates. Everything pulses, everything sings. To the untrained eye, the world looks solid, inert, divided. But to the Hermetic mind, reality is music, an orchestra of frequencies constantly creating and dissolving forms. You call it matter, but the ancients called it movement slowed down, because even your body, even your thoughts, even the space between them, are waves dancing in different tempos. You are vibration perceiving vibration. And the tone you sustain within is the melody your life plays without. Every mood, every emotion, every belief carries a specific frequency. They rise, fall, harmonize, distort, composing the invisible soundtrack of your existence. Listen closely. You've felt it before. That heavy pull when you're anxious, the frequency tightening, sinking, compressing your breath. That expansive warmth when you're in clarity. Everything seems lighter, aligned, open. You're not imagining it. You're feeling the law of vibration, the second Hermetic law, the bridge between thought and manifestation. The law of mentalism declared, all is mind. The law of vibration explains how mind becomes form. It teaches that nothing rests. Everything oscillates, moves, vibrates, and that these vibrational differences are what make the illusion of levels, dimensions, and realities. Everything is energy vibrating at different rates. Thoughts are the subtlest of these vibrations, the architects of frequency itself. A single thought ripples through your emotional field, transmitting signals that shape your perception, behavior, and electromagnetic presence. You are a transmitter and a receiver, constantly tuning the field through what you feel and believe. The Hermetic adepts taught that vibration is the true measure of consciousness, not the knowledge you hold, but the frequency you inhabit, because what you know can deceive you. But what you vibrate never lies. A person can speak of light while emanating chaos. They can repeat truths while radiating fear. The universe does not listen to your words. It listens to your frequency, because frequency is your prayer. That is why awareness of vibration is the highest form of self-observation. You can lie with language, but not with resonance. Your vibration is your truth in motion. You've probably noticed it. When you enter a room where tension was present, you feel it instantly, even if no one speaks. When you meet someone peaceful, their energy calms you before they utter a word. That's vibration interacting with vibration, field communicating with field. And your mind, your emotions, your thoughts are constantly sculpting that field. This is why chaos within creates chaos without. Not because of karma or punishment, but because resonance cannot be cheated. What you sustain internally must manifest externally until you change the frequency. That's why repeating patterns exist, not as fate, but as feedback. Life keeps echoing the tone you haven't yet tuned. You can prove this to yourself. Take a moment. Notice what you've been thinking about today. Were your thoughts clear, aligned, simple, or fragmented, restless, repetitive? Now notice how your body feels. It's the same vibration in different density. Tension in the body is thought crystallized into muscle. Fatigue in the mind is energy dissipated through scattered frequency. The field doesn't separate mental and physical. It's one continuum of vibration shifting from subtle to dense. To change your reality, you don't need to fight the outer world. You need to shift the frequency that's broadcasting it. That's why the Hermetic path is internal first, external second. Because outer form is only the echo of inner tone. Every thought is a tuning fork. Every emotion, a note. Every intention, a rhythm. The world you inhabit is the song they compose. So the art of Hermetic practice is not to silence thought, but to tune it. The masters compared it to tuning an instrument. The mind is the string, emotion the vibration, and awareness the musician. If the string is too loose, you drift into lethargy. If it's too tight, you spiral into anxiety. But when tuned just right, the note resonates with the divine chord, the frequency of coherence. That's why meditation is not doing nothing. It's tuning the instrument. Every time you return to your breath, you reestablish rhythm. Inhale, exhale, rise, fall, the primal oscillation of creation itself. Each conscious breath harmonizes your vibration with the pulse of the universe. And the more coherent your rhythm becomes, the more precisely reality responds to your command. Think of it like steering sound. When you focus on gratitude, your field expands, frequencies synchronize, your nervous system aligns, your perception widens. When you focus on resentment, your field contracts, vibrations clash, energy fragments, clarity fades. Both states emit energy, but only one harmonizes with truth. That's why Hermetic training is not intellectual, it's vibrational. The initiate learns to feel his own frequency the way a musician feels the resonance of a chord. He begins to live by vibration, not by logic. He knows when he's aligned, not because he believes, but because he feels the coherence. The moment you feel dissonance and confusion, irritation, restlessness, that's the universe saying, you are out of tune, not punished, just misaligned. And the work is simple, but radical. Pause, breathe, retune. Your breath is the first instrument of alignment. Because breath is the vibration of life entering and leaving form. Every inhale draws consciousness in. Every exhale releases distortion. If you learn to breathe with awareness, you begin to command your vibration in real time. Try this. The next time anxiety strikes, don't resist it. Close your eyes, inhale slowly, and imagine the breath as a wave adjusting the string of your mind. With each exhale, feel the tension releasing. With each inhale, feel clarity returning. You're not escaping emotion. You're converting its vibration. You're transmuting density into rhythm. That is the essence of mental alchemy. Not escaping the storm, but tuning your energy until even the storm sings. When you sustain this vibration long enough, reality must reorganize around it. Because energy always seeks coherence. It wants to return to harmony. And once your vibration stabilizes, you become a center of order in the field. Chaos bends around you, like turbulence around a steady flame. That's why those who master vibration become unshakable. They don't resist life. They resonate with its higher octave. They don't chase peace, they vibrate it. And peace, being vibration, cannot help but mirror itself back to them. To understand vibration is to understand creation itself, because the universe is not built, it's sung. Every galaxy is a chord, every atom a note, every soul a variation of the same divine melody seeking resolution in harmony. And when you find your true tone, when your vibration aligns with the frequency of the source, you no longer chase destiny, you embody it. The law of vibration is not poetic, it is mechanical. It is the engine through which consciousness becomes cosmos, and every human life is an instrument within that symphony, a thread of the great harmonic fabric of being. Your task as an initiate is not to dominate this field, but to play consciously within it, to realize that when you think, you are composing. When you speak, you are casting frequency. When you love, you are amplifying resonance. And when you fear, you are distorting the field until it must echo back as lesson. Each state of mind is a rehearsal of creation. Every day you are either composing harmony or repeating noise, and the choice happens in silence, in the instant before reaction, when you decide what vibration you will sustain. This is the secret that transforms confusion into clarity, emotion into command, chaos into code. Because once you master vibration, you are no longer dragged by energy. You direct it. You move from being the echo to becoming the sound itself. And that is when the universe begins to respond not as chaos, but as choreography. Because the moment your vibration becomes intentional, reality dances to its rhythm. If you've reached this point, you've already crossed the threshold of silence. You are not just watching, you are remembering. Declare your initiation in the comments below. Write these words: I choose frequency. That phrase is not decoration, it's declaration. It marks the moment your awareness becomes command. When you write it, you align with thousands of seekers across this invisible temple, each one tuning the same vibration of remembrance. Because the algorithm doesn't spread videos, vibration does. Your declaration becomes a signal, and through it, others who vibrate the same truth will find their way here. So take that breath, feel your own frequency, and write it. I choose frequency. That is how resonance recognizes resonance. That is how the Hermetic field expands. Vibration is not something you control. It is something you become aware of. And once you become aware of it, control is no longer necessary, because awareness itself is the highest vibration of all. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is a vessel adrift on the boundless ocean of thought. Every wave is an emotion, every gust of wind, a distraction, every current, an unconscious habit that tries to steer you off course. You stand at the center, one hand on the helm, eyes fixed on a horizon that only the silent can see. This is the image of the timoneer, the inner navigator, the awakened operator of vibration. In the ancient temples, the initiates were called pilots of the unseen. They trained not in weapons but in stillness, because when you master stillness, storms obey you. When you master breath, chaos reveals its rhythm. And when you master your mind, destiny aligns with your will. You are that pilot. You always have been. But most people forget they are at the helm. They drift. They confuse motion with progress, noise with direction, reaction with command. Their boats spin in circles while they argue with the wind. They scream at the sea for being wild, never realizing that it moves according to their own unconscious vibration. The modern human has become like a ship without anchor, reacting to waves of information, pulled by tides of emotion, believing that control means force instead of focus. And this is the great misunderstanding of our age. We think mastery is suppression, but true mastery is navigation. You don't control the sea by fighting it. You control the sea by understanding its rhythm. The sea is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Every wave that crashes against your hull is feedback, a lesson in direction. It asks simply, where are you steering from? Fear or awareness? The Hermetic path is not about escaping storms, but learning to steer within them, because it is only in the storm that the timoneer awakens. Calm waters don't forge command, chaos does. When the waves rise and your reflex is to react, that is the moment of initiation, because in that exact moment, you are invited to choose who commands your mind. The untrained mind reacts, the timoneer responds. Reaction is the reflex of the machine, mechanical, habitual, unexamined. Response is the act of consciousness, deliberate, precise, aligned. It's the difference between drowning in emotion and using emotion as wind for your sail. Emotion is not the enemy, it is energy in motion. the raw wind of creation. The problem is not the wind. The problem is not having a helm. The art is not to resist feeling, but to direct it. Every emotion carries power, but only awareness gives it purpose. Think of anger. When you resist it, it becomes violence. When you observe it, it becomes clarity. When you direct it, it becomes force of will. Think of fear. When you run from it, it becomes limitation. When you face it, it becomes intuition sharpened. When you command it, it becomes wisdom. Every emotion can be transmuted when you remember that you are the navigator, not the wave. This is where the Hermetic practice becomes practical, tangible, alive. Every moment of tension, every spike of emotion is an opportunity to train command. The vessel is your body, the helm is your focus, the wind is your emotion, and the sea, infinite, deep, unpredictable, is the field of mind itself. To steer the sea, you must learn the art of internal navigation. It begins with observation, continues through breath, and culminates in direction. Observation gives you map, breath gives you control of rhythm, direction gives you purpose. Together they form the triad of mental command, the science of the timoneer. Let's practice it. Next time you feel yourself drowning in worry, don't resist the sea. Anchor yourself. Breathe. Feel the emotion as wave, not as truth, but as movement. Don't fight it. Don't interpret it. Just let it rise, crest, and fall. Every wave falls. None are permanent. And as it does, you'll notice something sacred. Beneath every emotion, there is stillness. That stillness is you. That stillness is the pilot seat. From that center, you steer. One breath, one decision, one thought at a time. You do not demand silence. You become it. You do not chase clarity. You embody it. Because silence is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of mastery. This is why the Hermetic master never fights the mind. He befriends it, trains it, commands it. He doesn't try to kill thought. He refines it into precision. He doesn't reject emotion. He teaches it rhythm. He doesn't reject chaos. He studies its tides until he can sail through them with serenity. And slowly, you begin to see that the storm was never an obstacle. It was the curriculum. Every difficulty you faced was not punishment. It was navigation training. Every collapse was a wave, teaching you how to steer under pressure. And now, after all those storms, something inside you remembers. You've always been the one holding the helm. There is a moment that every timoneer knows, a quiet instant after the storm breaks, when the waves calm and the sea mirrors the sky. In that reflection you see both heaven and self as one. That is not peace as absence, it is peace as realization. You've aligned inner and outer vibration. You've turned chaos into course. This is the essence of Hermetic power, the marriage of vibration and direction. Because awareness without direction is drift. Direction without awareness is tyranny. Only their union creates sovereignty. And sovereignty is what the ancient texts called the crown of the mind. The crown is not a symbol of superiority. It's a reminder of responsibility. Once you see that every thought creates a ripple, every word releases frequency, every decision redirects the current, you can no longer live unconsciously. To think becomes sacred. To feel becomes art. To speak becomes spell. That is what it means to live as timoneer. To understand that every breath is steering reality toward coherence or collapse, and the only true navigation is awareness guided by intention. So the next time you wake and the day feels like a storm, remember, you are not here to escape the sea. You are here to master it. You are not here to pray for calm waters. You are here to remember that you can sail through any wave because you are not the wave. You are the navigator. You are the direction itself. The law of vibration revealed that all things move. The law of mentalism revealed that all movement begins in thought. Now, as timoneer, you embody the third revelation, that awareness is the helm through which both can be commanded. To master awareness is to master vibration. To master vibration is to master manifestation. To master manifestation is to master destiny. But it all begins with a single gesture, returning to the helm every time you drift away. That is the daily ritual of command. Breathe, observe, direct, over and over, until the storm itself becomes rhythm, until chaos begins to feel like home, until the sea once feared begins to sing your name. And then one day, without warning, you realize the truth. The sea was never separate from you. It was your own mind, waiting to remember its master. This portal has a sequence, and this isn't the end of it. If you've felt the pull of these words, it means the current has already chosen you. Follow the thread in the pinned comment below. It will lead you to the next passage, the continuation of this same initiation, where we go deeper into the laws that govern command. Each video is not another lesson, it's another layer of remembering. The path of the Timoneer doesn't stop at steering the mind. It expands into steering energy, vibration, and manifestation itself. And the next portal is already open. Enter it consciously. Don't scroll, cross, because once awareness begins to command, it cannot return to sleep. The storm is not over. It's transforming. And you are learning to move with it. You are not here to find calm waters. You are here to become the calm within all waters. And when the sea recognizes its own stillness through you, the illusion of separation dissolves. The Timoneer does not escape the ocean. He becomes the ocean, remembering itself. Every seeker eventually reaches the same threshold, the place where silence and noise become indistinguishable, where the storm is no longer external and the battle no longer against the world, but against the echoes within the self. It's here, in this liminal space, that true transformation begins, not in escape, but in transmutation, because the mind cannot be destroyed. It must be refined. Noise cannot be eliminated. It must be converted. Confusion cannot be fought. It must be understood. This is the art of mental alchemy. The alchemists of old never truly worked with metals. They worked with states of mind. Lead was not a substance. It was the heavy, unconscious vibration of chaos, fear, and confusion. Gold was not metal. It was the luminous clarity born when consciousness masters its own field. They weren't changing elements. They were changing awareness. Every symbol of their furnace, crucible, and transmutation was psychological. The fire they spoke of was the fire of focus. The furnace was the human mind under discipline. And the philosopher's stone, the mythical catalyst that turns base matter into gold, was the awakened self. Because once you awaken awareness, everything it touches begins to refine itself. So ask yourself, what is the lead you carry? What patterns do you repeat that weigh your vibration down? Which thoughts, fears, and narratives keep turning your clarity into smoke? Every one of them is raw material for your alchemy. Noise is not your enemy. It is your unrefined gold. Every chaotic thought, every loop of worry, every surge of emotion is energy. Raw, untamed, waiting to be directed. When you resist it, you remain its prisoner. When you transmute it, you become its master. And this is the true secret of Hermetic transformation. What you observe consciously cannot enslave you. Observation turns energy from chaos to clarity, from unconscious movement to conscious creation. When you watch the noise, you begin to separate from it. When you separate, you begin to distill. And when you distill, the essence of every experience reveals itself as light. The ancient texts called this stage the nigredo, the blackening, the phase where all false forms burn away. It feels like darkness, but it's purification. It feels like loss, but it's liberation. Because before gold can shine, the impurities must rise to the surface. That's why when awareness deepens, your mind often feels louder. Not because you're regressing, but because you're finally seeing what was always there. You're witnessing the smoke that once controlled you. And that witnessing alone begins the alchemy. The formula is simple yet eternal. Awareness plus stillness, transformation. Because stillness is not passivity, it's the fire that refines without force, and awareness is the crucible that holds chaos without breaking. Imagine your thoughts as molten metal, bubbling with confusion and desire. Now imagine your attention as a steady flame beneath it. If the flame flickers, if your focus wavers, the process collapses. But if you hold the fire steady, without reacting, something miraculous occurs. The dross, the impurities of thought, rise to the surface and burn away. What remains is clarity. And clarity is not something you find. It's something you reveal by burning away everything that isn't it. That's why the Hermetic way is never about suppression. It's about transformation. It doesn't deny the mind. It dignifies it through refinement. The alchemist doesn't curse the lead. He thanks it for giving him material to work with, because without shadow, there is no gold to reveal. The modern seeker, however, tries to skip this stage. They want light without fire, peace without friction, awareness without confrontation. But all great initiations demand fire. You cannot rise into clarity without facing your own noise. You cannot claim power without witnessing where you gave it away. And you cannot command the mind without first burning through the illusions that convinced you you were it. So the practice of mental alchemy begins not with control, but with surrender. Surrender, not to confusion, but to observation. It begins when you stop running from discomfort and start sitting in its heat, watching it transform. Every time you do this, every time you refuse to flee, the noise loses power, because what is seen cannot manipulate you. In the depths of this furnace, you begin to notice subtle shifts. The same thought that used to paralyze you now dissolves faster. The emotion that once consumed you now moves through you like a passing current. Your nervous system steadies, your energy stabilizes, and in that stillness, clarity arises, not as concept, but as frequency. Clarity is not absence of thought. It is thought aligned with truth. It is awareness so complete that even chaos becomes coherent. That is the gold of Hermetic alchemy, a mind that no longer fights itself, but vibrates in unity with the higher intelligence behind all creation. This is why the true alchemist never prays for easier days. He prays for sharper awareness, because sharper awareness turns every difficulty into transformation. Every moment becomes material for the work, the magnum opus, the great work of refining the human mind into a vessel of the divine. When you begin to live like this, something extraordinary happens. Conflict becomes cooperation, pain becomes perception, and confusion becomes code. The very patterns that once trapped you begin to reveal their hidden order. You see how every shadow was trying to teach you something about your own vibration. You realize the mind was never your enemy. It was your forge. And the fire that once burned you is now the same fire that illuminates you. That is mental alchemy in motion, turning noise into clarity, chaos into coherence, reaction into realization. And here lies the paradox at the heart of all Hermetic wisdom. The clearer your mind becomes, the less it needs to do. Because when clarity is complete, action arises effortlessly, like current flowing through an open channel. You no longer push reality. You conduct it. You no longer chase results. They unfold through you. This is the stage the masters called the marriage of opposites, the union of movement and stillness, will and surrender, mind and spirit. At this stage, the distinction between you and reality begins to dissolve, because clarity erases separation. You see that the world has never been outside. It's the echo of your inner field, playing itself through people, situations, and symbols. And as your vibration refines, the outer world begins to respond with grace. The chaos you once fought turns into choreography, precise, meaningful, inevitable. This is the reward of the great work. Not wealth, not power, not perfection, but perception. You begin to see the divine intelligence moving through all things. Even in confusion, you see structure. Even in darkness, you see purpose. Even in endings, you sense birth. That is what it means to think as the divine mind thinks, not to analyze, but to recognize order in everything. And now, as you listen to these words, feel this truth in your own field. The same energy that once fragmented your attention is the same energy you can now redirect into focus. The same emotion that once drained you can now fuel creation. Nothing is wasted in alchemy. Everything transforms. Everything serves. So the next time your mind fills with noise, don't recoil, breathe, observe. Recognize it as the raw material of your next transformation. The fire doesn't destroy the lead, it frees the gold within it. And that gold is you. If this fire spoke to something ancient inside you, stay here. Don't click away. Don't silence the pull that brought you this far. You are in the furnace of awareness now, and awareness, once awakened, cannot unsee itself. This field, this current of consciousness, is not just a video. It's a living initiation unfolding in you. Before you move on, breathe once. Feel the clarity forming. And know this, the next portal continues the same work. The next spiral of transformation where clarity becomes command and thought becomes vibration in motion. When the screen fades, the practice begins. Because the real laboratory is not here. It's your life. Keep the fire alive. Revisit this when the storm returns. And remember, the gold you seek is forged in your own mind. Noise is not chaos. Noise is energy waiting for direction, and direction begins in awareness. That is the secret of the alchemist. He doesn't escape the fire, he becomes it. There comes a moment in every initiation when the seeker realizes that the journey was never outward. The mountain he climbed was inside. The sea he crossed was his own thought. And the treasure he sought, the gold of transformation, was never hidden by the world, but by the noise within his own perception. This is that moment, the return, the completion of one spiral and the beginning of another. Because the Hermetic path never ends. It refines itself through cycles. Every revelation opens a deeper layer. Every understanding births a new question, and every silence echoes with a higher tone. You've walked through the storm of thought. You've faced the predator of distraction. You've learned to listen to vibration and steer the sea of emotion. Now as you stand on the other side, you see it clearly. The mind was never your enemy. It was your first temple, your first tool, your first universe. Everything begins in the mind, and everything returns to it. But now you understand why. Because mind is the sacred instrument through which the infinite becomes visible. The Hermetic masters never sought to escape the mind. They sought to sanctify it, to turn it from chaos into cosmos, from mirror into prism, from cage into conduit. Because when the mind aligns with truth, it becomes the bridge between heaven and earth. You are that bridge. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, every time you breathe through chaos instead of collapsing into it, every time you direct vibration with precision instead of emotion, you are restoring the sacred function of the human mind. Look within now. Notice the stillness beneath your thoughts. That stillness is not emptiness. It's the pulse of the universal mind beating through you. It is the same rhythm that moves tides, that forms galaxies, that guides the unfolding of every living thing. And it's here, inside you, disguised as silence. The greatest illusion was believing that your thoughts were personal. They're not. They're fragments of the collective field, flowing through the vessel of your awareness. The thoughts are not yours, but the awareness that sees them is. That awareness is divine. It is the part of you that never changes, never reacts, never dies. It observes all things and remains untouched. That is the true self the Hermetists spoke of. Not the thinker, but the witness of thought. Not the player, but the consciousness behind the game. And once you've recognized this, you no longer seek control through struggle. You command through resonance. Because the moment awareness becomes stable, reality responds as reflection. Your mind is not an obstacle to enlightenment. It is the medium through which enlightenment expresses itself. When you purify it, you don't rise above the human experience. You redeem it. You make the invisible audible, the abstract visible, the eternal tangible. You make spirit heard through form. This is why the Hermetic masters called man the intermediary. Half matter, half mind, half infinite, half incarnate. The only being capable of translating the unseen into the seen. And the key to this translation is vibration. When your vibration harmonizes with truth, the divine mind speaks through you, not as voice, but as direction. Your intuition becomes command, your thought becomes tool, your presence becomes frequency. At that point, you no longer try to manifest. You realize that you are manifestation itself, that creation doesn't happen outside. It unfolds through the instrument of consciousness you maintain. And when that instrument vibrates in clarity, the universe plays through it like a sacred chord. This is the real meaning of dominion. Not the control of others, but the alignment of self. Not domination, but direction. Not egoic assertion, but divine coherence. The Hermetic principle of mentalism was never about manipulation. It was about responsibility. Because once you know that everything is mind, you understand that every thought is a creation, every emotion is a broadcast, every silence is a command, and so mastery becomes devotion. You don't control reality to get what you want. You align your mind to serve what is true, and truth has a vibration. You can feel it. It hums through your awareness even now, steady, precise, luminous. It asks nothing but coherence. It demands nothing but presence. Because truth is not a word, it's a frequency that needs no defense. When you stand in it, All illusions dissolve on their own. You've seen the mechanics of this in your own life, how every chaotic moment carried an encoded lesson, how every noise concealed direction, how every collapse cleared space for new architecture. That is the law in action, the great mind rearranging itself through experience. And as you become conscious of it, you stop fighting the process. You begin to dance with it. That's what mastery feels like. Not control, but choreography. A dance between awareness and energy, between observer and observed, between silence and sound. You don't try to command the music. You tune yourself to it. And as you do, life plays through you in harmony. This is the true Hermetic state. Not an escape from life, but the perfection of participation. The realization that consciousness is the artist, mind is the brush, and reality is the canvas. And each thought is a stroke upon that canvas, deliberate or accidental. The art is to paint consciously. So now, as this initiation nears completion, remember this. Your mind is not an enemy to silence. It is its extension. It is not chaos to be conquered. It is an instrument to be tuned. And when you tune it, the entire universe adjusts its harmony around you, because the all is mind, and mind, when clear, reflects the all. You are not learning mentalism, you are remembering it, because you've been creating with your mind since the day you were born. Every emotion, every pattern, every story, all of it, was your unconscious mastery at work. Now it becomes conscious. Now it becomes sacred. Now you see that thought is not just movement, it is prayer in motion. To think clearly is to create divinely. To feel deeply is to vibrate eternity. To observe silently is to remember your origin. That is the return, the realization that the journey was never to become something greater, but to remember you already are. You are the timoneer and the sea, the alchemist and the fire, the mind and the silence. All of it was always you, and every breath you take now is the breath of the infinite, realizing itself through you. You've completed this spiral, but the spiral never ends. It ascends. Each turn reveals a higher octave of the same law, and the next octave begins the moment this one settles into your vibration. So as you listen to these final words, don't let them end. Let them echo. Let them move through you as memory, not message. Because the Hermetic path is not learned, it's remembered. And remembrance is eternity awakening in time. If you've crossed this entire journey, you are no longer watching, you are remembering. Write it in the comments. I choose awareness. That simple phrase is your seal, the final act that anchors vibration into form. It's how the field recognizes its own initiates. Because this was never a video, it was a transmission, a mirror for the part of you that already knew the law, but had forgotten its sound. And by writing those words, you complete the circuit. You turn understanding into embodiment. If this resonance burned quietly through you, don't let it fade. Follow the thread. The next portal continues this same current. It is not another topic. It is the next octave of the same law. There we'll go beyond command, into creation itself. The path doesn't end here. It expands. The next portal is already open. You'll find it in the pinned comment and in the description below. Step through it consciously, because when awareness awakens, continuation is inevitable. You've crossed this portal. The next one is already waiting, and the silence between them is sacred. You are the mind becoming conscious of its own infinity. You are the mirror through which the universe remembers itself. And the moment you understand that, you no longer seek light. You are it.